Golden Radio Hour.
Hey, Abbott, what time is it?
It's time for the Abbott and Costello Show. We're on the air for ABC here in Hollywood.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go with the Abbott and Costello Show.
Yes, it's the Abbott and Costello Show, produced and transcribed in Hollywood for your listening and laughing pleasure with chuckles with a carload and music by Matty Malnick. So hold on to your chairs, folks, for here they are, Bud Abbott and Lou Costello.
All right, what's all the excitement about? What happened, Lou?
Well, Uncle Mike discovered gold on his ranch.
Well, good for Uncle Mike.
Yeah, he's sending to Europe for some Englishmen with shovels.
He's sending for Englishmen with shovels. What for?
He figures England will want to borrow the gold sooner or later, and they might just as well come over here and help dig it up.
Oh, let's face it, Costello. Your Uncle Mike is a moron.
Oh, no, he's not.
No?
He's going to be a great scientist someday. Right now, he's working on a new insecticide.
He is?
Yes. Last week, he got out his notebooks and locked himself in his laboratory with 10,000 mosquitoes. He released the mosquitoes and was going to write down the mosquitoes' behavior.
Then what did he write?
Nothing. He was so busy scratching, he didn't have time to write.
Just as I thought. He's as big a nincompoop as you.
No, he's not. Right now, he's crossing a rubber plant with a banana.
And what does he expect to get?
A girdle you can slide into.
You know, your whole family are jerks. Look, by the way, what was that silly-looking thing on the radiator of your car this afternoon?
Well, you see, I can't afford a radiator cap, so I trained my little dog to sit on the radiator.
Your dog sits on the radiator?
Mm-hmm.
Does he bark much?
Only when it boils over.
Well,
I gotta leave you now, Abbott. I got a job as a babysitter.
You a babysitter?
Yep.
Babysitters are girls.
Well, what's wrong with the man? My Uncle Jim Kelly was a sitter. He isn't around anymore, though.
He isn't? What happened?
While he was sitting, the warden pulled the switch.
Oh, get him out.
And there'll be much more of that terrific Abbott and Costello humor in a few seconds.
Take it easy. What are you so excited about? Calm down. What's the matter?
I'm worried, Abbott.
What do you mean?
My Aunt May is in terrible shape.
Well, what's the matter with her?
She's got hallucinations. She thinks she's a taxicab.
She thinks she's a taxicab.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Uncle Mike call a doctor?
Why should he? She gets him to work faster than the Sunset Bus.
How long has Uncle Mike and Aunt May been married, Lou?
Well, it's just 20 years since they went on a honeymoon. Aunt May went to Niagara Falls, and Uncle Mike went to Miami.
Wait a minute. You mean they weren't together on their honeymoon?
No, Uncle Mike said that a honeymoon is the happiest time of your life, and why let marriage spoil it?
Well, it's wonderful to think that your Aunt May and your Uncle Mike have been married for 20 years.
Yeah. But really, Abbott, what's wonderful about it? Uncle Mike thought she loved him, but for the whole 20 years she hated him. Hated him like poison. And now they have 17 children.
Wait a minute. If she hated him, why did they have 17 children?
Well, it was her idea. She was just trying to lose him in a crowd.
Does that mean to him, Lou?
Well, she beats him up all the time. He wouldn't mind it if it wasn't for the children.
The children?
Yeah, they beat him, too.
He must be really henpecked.
Yes, he is. She tries to keep him in the house every night. Saturday, when he started to take his bath, she put 6 boxes of Jell-O in the tub so he'd get stuck. Luckily, it was raspberry, and he ate his way out.
Well, they don't have a very happy home life, do they, Lou?
No. Saturday night, Uncle Mike played pinochle all afternoon, and when he came home at 6 o'clock, there was no dinner on the table.
Well, where was your Aunt May?
Down at the bowling alley. She's down there 7 days a week.
Well, that's a shame.
Yep, Uncle Mike should have never got her that job setting pins.
Well, look, wasn't your Uncle Mike married once before?
Yeah, but his first wife passed away.
Well, now that's too bad.
Uncle Mike had such a tough time collecting the insurance that sometimes he almost wishes she hasn't died.
What did your Uncle Mike do before he got married, Lou?
Well, he was quite a Romeo, Abbott. For 2 years, he carried a torch for a girl in Pennsylvania.
He carried a torch for a girl in Pennsylvania?
She was a coal miner, and it gets pretty dark in those tunnels.
Didn't he ever work for a living?
Sure, he had a job in a canned soup factory. He was in the chicken soup division. He was a dragger.
Now, wait a minute. What are the duties of a dragger in a canned soup factory?
Very simple. When a 1,000-gallon tank of hot water was ready, he'd drag a chicken through it.
Well, it's no wonder your Aunt May fights with Uncle Mike.
Yeah. You should have seen Aunt May Sunday night, Abbott. She was so mad at Mike that she said she was going to pack her suitcases and leave him forever. Now he's really worried.
He is?
Yep. She ain't even started to pack her suitcases yet.
What a couple they are. Mike isn't a bad-looking guy, but I can't see what he ever saw in your Aunt May.
She was very popular in Patterson when she was a young girl.
She was?
Yes, the Patterson Electric and Power Company voted her Miss Alternating Current of 1915.
Costello, that's about the year you were born back in Patterson, isn't it?
Yes. I'm Patterson's favorite son.
What do you mean?
Just last week, the people of Patterson erected a statue in the very spot where I was born.
The spot where you were born, where was that?
Right in the middle of the Greyhound bus depot.
You were born right in the middle of the Greyhound bus depot?
It was raining and my mother couldn't get a taxi.
Costello, you talk like an nincompoop. Tell me, does your whole family suffer from stupidity?
Indeed not. They enjoy every minute of it.
Hey there, Costello. I want to talk to you.
Mister, do I owe you any money?
No.
Mm-hmm. Did I ever give you a tip on any of my horses?
No.
Have you got a red-headed sister in Chicago?
No.
Okay, go ahead and talk to me.
Do you give away prizes on this program? Can I win a refrigerator or something?
Nope.
Well, goodbye. I've got to go hurry over to the Gangbusters radio show. Last week, I got $164 on that program.
Wait a minute. Gangbusters don't give away anything.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I'm a pickpocket, too.
Now I know where I saw that guy, Abbott. It was the 30th anniversary party. Yours. Remember you had a swimming pool filled up with bourbon?
Yeah, the whole swimming pool was filled with bourbon. What fun.
Yes, I never saw so many people going down for the third time with smiles on their faces.
Well, never mind that. The whole town is talking about my anniversary party. Didn't my wife Betty look beautiful? I'm very proud of my wife. Every man in town was fighting over her, but I got her.
Abbott, you didn't fight hard enough.
My wife is a beautiful woman. She hasn't got a wrinkle in her face.
She hasn't, huh? Then what are those things? Dents?
Costello, you know nothing about women. I don't even know why I even discussed the subject of women with you.
Well, it's not my fault, Abbott. I led a very sheltered life. Then I met a lovely little redhead, and I learned about women from her.
You did?
I'll never forget our first date. We sat on the riverbank in the moonlight. She moved closer to me, then I moved closer to her. Then the moon went behind a cloud. Then it happened.
What?
She let me tighten the string on her ukulele.
she kiss you, Lou?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Oh, boy.
How did it make you feel?
How did it make me feel?
Yeah.
Did you ever stand on a hot buttered waffle and have somebody pour maple syrup down your spine?
How did you get along with her, Lou?
Oh, good. The second time we had a date, I took her sightseeing on a bus.
Rubberneck?
No, but I tickled her a little.
Hello, boys.
Hey, look, Costello, it's our secretary, Viola Vaughn.
Well, Viola Vaughn.
That's my line, Lou.
Take it.
Well, Viola Vaughn. I understand you bought a new car. How do you like driving in California?
Well, it would be. That's
it
yours.
would be.
Go ahead.
It would be all right if it weren't for the pedestrians.
What's wrong with the California pedestrians?
Well, I was driving down here tonight, and one of them whizzed right past my windshield. The dirty coward was pole vaulting across the street.
Sneaky devils, ain't they? Viola, why don't you take me for a ride down the beach tonight?
I should say not.
Ah, Costello, Viola's only kidding you. She really likes you, but you've got to do something to show that you like her.
That's right, Costello. Do something brave.
Do something brave?
Uh-huh.
I know what I'll do. I'll join the army and help fight the British.
But we're not fighting the British.
That's all the better. That way nobody can get hurt.
Costello, you know, you've been acting kind of queer lately.
Hey, wait a minute. Come to think of it, you're right, Viola. Yesterday afternoon, I saw him sitting up in a tree in Griffith Park.
Costello, what were you doing up in that tree?
Signing autographs?
Signing autographs.
Yes, the robins thought I was Woody Woodpecker.
Costello, here's another thing. Why do you always carry an umbrella on your arm? Why don't you get a girl on your arm? You know, a girl is much nicer than an umbrella.
Oh, I don't know, kiddo. When you're through with a girl, can you fold her up and hang her in a closet?
Why, you simple-minded, no-good, low-down...
Just a minute, Mr. Abbott. Have you ever stopped to consider that Costello's reasoning capacity and his functional capabilities for logical delineation are coordinated, comprehensive, and negligible? Is it compulsory to you to abuse this poor, moronic, social incompetent simply because the poor slob doesn't possess the mental capacity of an imbecile?
But Viola...
Just a minute, Abbott. You've had this coming to you for a long time. Let her finish. Continue. Tell them what a slob I am.
Viola,
Hey!
Viola, I can't help it if Costello's stupid.
Who's stupid? I want to tell you something, Abbott. I'm always studying, always reading. I just finished a book called When Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman in Dracula's Garden, where the Spider Woman killed the cat girl.
What's the story about?
Two bums living in the La Brea tar pits.
Well, I've got to go now, boys. I'm taking my painting lessons.
Do you paint?
Oh, yes. I draw birds with charcoal. I paint flowers in watercolor.
What do you do in oil?
Fry potatoes. Go on, Costello.
You know, Abbott, there's a girl going places.
She is?
Yes, sir. And if she hurries, she can be the first one in line to collect her unemployment insurance.
Oh, get him out!
Now, while we take the 60-second intermission, we'd like you to consider this.
ladies and gentlemen, that singing star of the Abbott and Costello show, Hal Winters.
I'd like to sing a song that belongs to the month of January as much as White Christmas belongs to December. With Matty Malnick's orchestra, here is the Ralph Ranger, Leo Robin perennial, June in January. It's June in January because I'm in love. It always is spring in my heart with you in my arms. The snow is just white blossoms that fall from above. And here is the reason, my dear, your magical charms. The night is cold, the trees are bare, but I can feel the scent of roses in the air. It's June in January because I'm in love, but only because I'm in love with you. The night is cold, the trees are bare, but I can feel the scent of roses in the air. It's June in January because I'm in love, but only because I'm in love with you.
Hey, Abbott. I just made an important discovery. I think I can safely announce that Governor Dewey will run for president in 1952.
Oh, what makes you think that?
He just started taking piano lessons.
You know, Costello, ever since you started playing the part of Sam Shovel, private detective, you've got your nose in everybody's business. You've been as busy as an ant.
Ants are busy.
Certainly.
Then why are they always going to picnics?
Will you talk sense? What is that letter you have in your hand?
Well, Abbott, it's another fan letter. Listen to this. Dear Lou Costello, a Sam Shovelly detective, you are the greatest thing on radio. I love your show. But my wife won't listen to it. She says she needs you like she needs a hole in the head. I'm sending her to see you tonight.
Mr. Costello, there's a lady to see you.
What does she look like?
She's a short, fat woman with a hole in her head.
Oh, never mind. What is your Sam Shovel detective story for tonight, Lou?
I think I'll do one of my old Western cases. I call it the case of the general who opened up a drive-in and was caught selling horse meat, or Custers' last hamburger stand.
Well, now you're talking. Let's do it.
I'm Sam Shovel, private detective. I remember my first case. Three-eyed Maxie the murderer. He had three eyes. He was the only man in the world with 20/20/20 vision. And there was my second case. Terrible Tony, the toughest gangster in Los Angeles. He was a bronze giant with muscles of steel and an iron fist. I had to shoot him. May he rust in peace. 15 years in the detective business takes a lot out of you. But I feel as strong and vigorous as the day I started. Right now, I could tear Superman in half. But I don't want to ruin the rest of the paper. I feel kind of thirsty. I go to the sink. This Los Angeles water is getting harder every day. I glance out of my window. There's the headquarters of the Republican Club. On the window, there's a sign, GOP. I just found out what GOP means. Gone out permanently. I look down at my desk. There's my new wristwatch. It's a shock-proof, non-magnetic, waterproof watch. The directions say don't take this watch out of the box. Fresh air ruins it. I think I'll give it to my secretary. What a secretary. She got the job the hard way. The hard way. She knew how to type. Lying next to my watch is my shotgun. I decide to see if it's loaded. I pointed at the floor and pulled the trigger. I looked down at the floor. When did I buy open-toed shoes? I reach in my coat pocket. Here's a wallet I found last night. I hope I can find the owner. A check. I check to see what's in the wallet. Here's a card. If found, return to Mr. Nichols. Delmar Hotel. Here's a driver's license issued to Mr. Nichols. Delmar Hotel. Here's a birth certificate with the name Nichols. Here's the pink slip for a new Hudson sedan issued to Mr. Nichols. Delmar Hotel. Well, here's $600 in cash. Looks like I'll have to keep the money. Serves that guy right. He should carry some identification. The name on the money is Washington. Now, let me see. Oh, yes. It's about time for my pal, Lieutenant Abbott of the Homicide Squad, to show up. Abbott had a pretty tough week chasing crooks. Monday night, he was held up on Main Street. Tuesday night, he was held up on Broadway. Wednesday night, he was held up on Sunset Boulevard. If Abbott would stay out of those saloons, he wouldn't need anybody to hold him up. Lieutenant Abbott don't have to work. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. This was okay until he found out that all the other kids had tongues. It's not easy to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Up to the time Abbott was 19, all he could say was Rogers Brothers, 1847. Before he became a detective, Abbott was a motorcycle cop. He was the only cop on the force that had traffic eyes. Real traffic eyes. They'd always look both ways before crossing each other. No matter what case Lieutenant Abbott goes out on, he's never stuck. Hello, Sam Shovel, private detective speaking.
Hello, Sam. This is Lieutenant Abbott. Sam, what time do the vaults open in the Fourth National Bank?
At 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Not till 9 o'clock tomorrow morning?
That's right, Lieutenant Abbott. You can't get in those vaults till 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Who wants to get in? I'm trying to get out.
Suddenly, my door opened.
Sam Shovel.
It was my pal, Lieutenant Abbott. He was scared to death. He was perspiring. He was sweating bullets. Lieutenant Abbott, how'd you get out of that bank vault?
Sam, I'll tell it to you all in a nutshell.
Can't you tell it to me here? I don't think we'd both fit in a nutshell.
Sam, I've been working on a series of bank burglaries. Monday night, the Kelly gang held up the First National Bank. Tuesday, they held up the Second National Bank. Wednesday, they held up the Third National Bank. So tonight, I was waiting for them at the Fourth National Bank.
And you caught 'em?
Nah. Tonight they held up the First National Bank again. But enough about myself. Enough about my trouble, Sam. Sam, you don't look good. What's the matter?
I didn't get any sleep last night, Lieutenant. A burglar climbed into my bedroom window and made me get out of bed. I stood there shivering in my long underwear.
Why didn't you holler for help?
He had a gun, and I was afraid to open my trap. After the burglar left, I still couldn't get any sleep. I was worried about my brother Pat. He kept poking his head into my room.
Well, lots of guys poke their heads into their brothers' rooms.
On the end of a stick?
Sam, did you hear those shots?
They came from the office next door.
Who runs that office next door?
An organization called the American Society of Patriotic Americans for the Preservation of Freedom in the United States of all and for all patriotic Americans.
What do they do?
They're foreign spies.
Sam, look. There's the guy that did the shooting. He's coming in here. He's got a gun.
So this is the place I've been looking for, eh? Where's Sam Shovel, the private detective?
What do you want with him?
I'm going to kill him. I hate radio detectives. I hate them all. The Thin Man, the Fat Man, Ellery Queen. But most of all, I hate Sam Shovel. I'm going to gouge his eyes out. I'll fill him with lead. Now, who are you?
Oh, I'm just an ordinary policeman.
Yeah?
Honest, mister, I'm not a radio detective.
And you? Who are you, fatso?
Well, I'm, I'm the... Don't stand there, Rabbit. Hand me my cookbook.
Cookbook? Who are you?
Don't you recognize me? Mary Margaret McBride.
Oh, so you're the one that gives out those recipes, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if there's anything I hate worse than radio detectives, it's those recipe programs. I'll kill them all. I'll kill them like a hare.
Bud and Lou will wind up tonight's hijinks in just a moment, folks, after a little advice from this fellow.
Costello, are you sure the folks at home like this Sam Shovel series we're doing?
Oh, certainly, Abbott. Listen to this letter. Dear Lou Costello, other radio detectives get you to listen, expecting something big on their shows. Then in the end, they have nothing. You never disappoint the listener. You have nothing right from the start.
Well, now, that's quite a compliment to our writers.
Oh, sure. And I'm glad they heard that fan letter, folks, because our writing staff is headed by Eddie Foreman with Paul Conlon, Pat Costello, Martin Ragaway, and Leonard Stern.
And our producer is Charles Vander. See you all next Thursday. Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. It's Patterson, New Jersey. Good night, everybody, all over the world.
Listen each Thursday night at this time for another great Abbott and Costello show, produced and transcribed in Hollywood. Be sure to stay tuned for the outstanding entertainment which follows throughout the evening on this ABC station.
Hey, Abbott, what time is it?
It's time for the Abbott and Costello Show. We're on the air for ABC here in Hollywood.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go with the Abbott and Costello Show.
Yes, it's the Abbott and Costello Show, produced and transcribed in Hollywood for your listening and laughing pleasure, with chuckles with a carload and music by Matty Malnick. So hold on to your chairs, folks, for here they are, Bud Abbott and Lou Costello.
All right. Cut out that yelling. What's all the excitement?
Well, I went to a party last night, Abbott. There were 30 girls there. Not one of them would dance with me or even talk to me.
You didn't have any fun then?
No, I was as lonesome as Fred Ellen on Sunday night.
I thought you were such a big shot with the girls. I don't believe you ever had a girl.
Oh, yes, I did, Abbott. I had a very beautiful little blonde once, and everything was swell until one day she ran off to Florida. She married a guy, and now she has 5 children. After that, we just sort of drifted apart.
She had... Why don't you speak to my wife, Lou? She knows lots of nice girls.
No. Your wife don't like me, Abbott.
Well,
No.
if you hang around with her more, you'll find you'll eventually get into her skin.
Well, I guess one more lump won't hurt her.
How can you talk that way about my wife? Remember the first night you met her?
Yes. The minute she walked in the room, I said, there's either an ugly woman or a good-looking man.
Costello, do you know you're getting more stupid every day?
Gee, thanks, Abbott. I'm glad to know I'm not stagnating.
Oh, get it.
Before the boys get any further involved in nonsense, here's a thought that makes good sense.
All right, Costello, stop that hollering. What's that thing you've got under your arm?
That's my new Harry Truman rifle.
The Harry Truman rifle?
Yes, a .48 repeater.
What happened to you last night? I called your house and you weren't home.
Well, I went to the movies, Abbott. I saw one of those old-time pictures. It was all about the Romans. They had a chariot race in it, and it was won by a guy named Ben-Hur.
Yeah. You dummy, you mean Ben-Hur, not him, her.
They were all dressed up in them bed sheets. You couldn't tell the hymns from the herd.
Well, if you'd gone to school, Lou, you'd known the story of Ben-Hur.
Did you go to school, Abbott?
Oh, certainly. I started in nursery school, then I went to kindergarten.
So what? I started in nursery school. I went to kindergarten.
And I went from kindergarten to grammar school.
So what? I went to kindergarten to grammar school.
I went from grammar school to high school.
You think there'll be a shortage of meatballs this summer?
Costello, you've got the brain of a monkey.
I'll bet you I have not.
Yeah? What do you want to bet?
15 bananas. Trying to insinuate that I'm ignorant? Abbott, you're nothing but a Hollywood character.
Oh, what's a Hollywood character?
A jerk with a personality.
I'll ignore that remark because of your ignorance.
Who's ignorant? When I went to school, I specialized in history. I can name off all the most important dates in history.
All right, go ahead. Name some important dates.
Well, I will. There's 1492, 1776, 1812, 1917, Rita Hayworth.
Now, wait a minute. Rita Hayworth is not an important date.
Ali Khan seems to think so.
Costello, why don't you listen to me? Take my advice once in a while. I'm your friend. I realize that you're an idiot, and I want to assist you, Lou.
What good can you do me? You're just an assistant to an idiot.
Well, just look at you. You're dumpy, squatty.
Now, hold it, Abbott.
What do you mean?
Hold it.
What do you
I'll
mean?
go for so much, and that's all. Now, it's not my fault that I didn't grow tall like the other boys. When I was a little boy over in Scotland, I used to play the bagpipes, but it gave me pneumonia.
Wait a minute. Now, look. Wait a minute. How could playing the bagpipes give you pneumonia?
There was a leak in the bag, and the air kept blowing up my kilts. Instead of wearing a whisk broom in front of my kilts like the rest of the Scotsmen, I had to wear a hot water bottle.
You must have had a very poor childhood, Costello.
I did, Abbott. We were very poor. My mother had to work, and she had to take in washing. She had to scrub office floors. She worked as a blacksmith. She drove an oil truck. And one time for 3 years, she worked in the daytime as a waitress and worked at night in a coal mine.
Well, what did your father do?
He kept the books.
Well, I guess you had a pretty tough time when you were a kid.
Yes, I'll never forget the day my mother made my first pair of long pants. It had 12 buttons down the back and 4 pockets in the front.
Well, what did she make them out of?
My father's old vest. I was the only kid in school that had a watch fob hanging from a knee.
Were you very popular with the other kids in school, Lou?
Oh, I was a pitcher on a baseball team. What a pitcher I was. I had a drop ball, a slow ball, a curve ball.
Did you have a screwball?
That was before I met you, Abbott.
You dummy, you ought to be back in school right now.
For your information, Abbott, I'm keeping steady company with a red-headed school teacher.
What does she teach?
She has a high school class of men all over 40 years old.
40-year-old man? Why don't they go to college?
When she gets through teaching them, there's nothing else to learn.
Running around with a school teacher. Why don't you find a nice girl and get married?
I'm going to, Abbott, as soon as I get some money.
Money. Costello, don't worry about money. Do you realize what money is? Money is the root of all evil. Money is an invention of the devil. Money is filthy lucre. Money causes misery. Money. That's what I think of money.
May the Bank of America have mercy on your soul.
Costello, you don't need money. What you need is the love of a good woman. Find another girl like my wife, Betty.
You mean there's another girl like your wife, Betty?
Costello, I love my wife. My Betty's a real cookie.
Your wife is a cookie?
That's right.
Abbott, you just set baking back 20 years.
You'd be lucky to get a girl like my wife. My Betty is always straight from the shoulder.
Who wants a girl that's straight from the shoulder? I like the girl that curves.
Oh, Uncle Bud, something terrible just happened to me.
And this is really his Uncle Bud, and this is the nephew. We don't kid about it. He's got to work. Abbott's nephew. Pay attention to what he says, folks. This may be his last performance.
What is it, Norman? Nephew Norman? Why are you so excited?
Well, Uncle Bud, when I was coming through the pass in the mountains, a mountain lion jumped right in the car beside me.
Yes, then what happened?
The lion killed me!
Wait a minute, Norman. You're not dead. Stop crying. You're working on the Abbott and Costello show. You're still living.
You call this living?
Really, though, sincerely, there goes a brilliant boy. His brain is on a slow boat to the Mayo Brothers.
Now, you lay off, Norman. He's a very intelligent boy. He's always studying and reading. It wouldn't hurt you to do a little reading once in a while.
Oh, Abbott, I do plenty of reading. When I was 7 years old, I started my first book, Little Red Riding Hood. I rented it from the library. The last time I'll ever rent a book from the library.
Well, didn't you like Little Red Riding Hood?
Abbott, up to now, I owe that library $2,800. And Little Red Riding Hood has yet to meet the wolf.
Little Red Riding Hood. Why don't you read some of the newer books?
I just bought Gypsy Rose Lee's new book. It's a story of her life.
Well, what does Gypsy Rose Lee call her new book?
The Leg and I.
Why don't you read something educational, Lou?
I am, Adam. I just bought a book on inventions. It tells all about new gadgets. I bought one yesterday for my Aunt May.
What kind of a gadget did you buy for your Aunt May?
It's a new girdle that's made from surplus paratroopers harness, and it's a handy little thing. At night, she doesn't have to undress.
She doesn't?
No, she just jumps off the top of the dresser and pulls the ripcord.
That's ridiculous. But, hey, I understand you're working on some kind of a silly invention yourself.
And my invention is all finished, too, Abbott. It's a new kind of perfume. And all the girls in Hollywood are going to go crazy about it.
All the girls in Hollywood are going crazy about your perfume. Why?
It smells like money. I gave a bottle of it to my Aunt May. Boy, did it make her popular.
Your Aunt May was never popular.
Is that so? Back in Patterson, New Jersey, she was so popular, every guy in town used to drink champagne out of her slipper.
And what did it get her?
She's got the only big toe in the world that belongs to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Come back here to spinach. Eat your spinach. I won't eat it. I won't eat it. No, I won't eat it.
Mister, what's going on here?
That's this darn kid of mine. He won't eat his spinach. Junior, you've got to eat your spinach.
I ain't going to do it. I don't like spinach.
Well, you eat your spinach or Saturday, I'll make you go to see Abbott and Costello's picture, Mexican Hayride.
No, you can't do that to me. I'll eat my spinach. You're my father. You can't do that to me.
Abbott, I'd like to take that kid over to Santa Anita Saturday.
What for?
I want to drop him in a claiming race.
Well, hello, boy.
Hey, look, Costello, it's Viola.
Viola, you look very lovely tonight.
Viola, I understand that you and Costello had a date last night. Where'd you go?
Well, Costello had a terrible time making up his mind where to take me.
Well, you see, I was trying to make up my mind between Ciro's and the Macombo. But we finally went.
Where?
To a hamburger stand between Ciro's and the Mocambo.
Well, don't you worry, Viola. After we're married, things will be different. We'll have lots of little ones, and they'll all look like me.
Oh, gee, I'd always planned on having children.
I'd plan on having a few laughs here. Are you sure you're reading the same script?
Lou, you shouldn't be jealous of me. I don't want to be a comedian. I don't want to make people laugh.
Okay, then you read my lines.
Costello, you can't be funny without me. You need me. Why, where would Edgar Bergen be without Charlie McCoffey? Where would Amos be without Andy?
That's true.
Certainly. One thing goes with the other. Like Dorothy L'Amour. Where would she be without her sarong?
I don't know, but I sure would like to be there.
Costello, I think you're girl crazy. I'm not the girl for you.
But, Viola, you can't leave me. What would I do without you?
Don't worry about that. I'll fix you up with a girlfriend of mine. Oh, you'll be just crazy about this girl. When she meets you, she'll rush over and she'll throw her arms around you like this.
Yes.
And she'll squeeze you like this.
Yes.
And she'll kiss you like this, and this, and this, and this. There, now what do you think of that?
When am I going to meet this girl?
Viola, why don't you take pity on Costello and marry him? Then you'll be known as Mrs. Louis G. Costello.
G? Oh, what does the G stand for, Costello?
Don't you tell her, Abbott.
Come on now. What does it stand for? George?
No, I don't want to tell you.
Oh, come on, Costello. What does the G stand for?
Oh, do I have to tell you?
Yes.
Stands for Gloria.
Gloria?
Yes, my mother always wanted a girl, and my father didn't have the heart to tell her.
Viola, why don't you forget Costello and come to the movies tonight and see our latest picture, Mexican Hayride?
Oh, thanks, Bud, but I saw the picture already.
Oh, you did? Tell me. How did you like my acting?
Well, it was... I'd say... Well, let me put it this way.
Sure.
You know how Van Johnson has that dramatic touch?
Oh, yes.
And how Clark Gable has that forceful personality?
Yes.
And how Gregory Peck gives that little artistic extra something?
Yeah. But what about me?
Costello, can you drive a taxi cab?
Oh, now get this girl out of here, will you? Come on.
And that's only half the fun, folks. Just as many laughs yet to come. But first, listen to this.
And now the spotlight turns to Hal Winters, our singing star. Here he is with Matty Malnick and his orchestra.
I caught you, sir, having a look at her as she went strolling by. Now, didn't your heart beat boom, 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 and didn't you sigh a sigh? I warn you, sir, don't start to dream of her. Just bid such thoughts be gone, or it'll be boom, 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 from then on. For once in love with Amy, always in love with Amy, ever and ever fascinated by her, sets your heart afire to stay. Once you're kissed by Amy, tear up your list, it's Amy. Ply her with bonbons, poetry and flowers, moon a million hours away. You might be quite the fickle-hearted rover, so carefree and bold, who loves a girl and later thinks it over and just quits cold. But once in love with Amy, always in love with Amy, ever and ever sweetly you romance her. Trouble is, the answer will be that Amy'd rather stay in love with me.
Hey, Costello, come here. How did you get your clothes so dirty? Just look at your coat. It's torn and your shirt is ripped and,
That ain't my fault, Abbott.
What?
I was out on one of my Sam Shovel detective cases last night. I investigated a case of a robbery at the fraternity house in UCLA. But I miscalculated. Got into one of the girls' dormitories.
How did you manage to do that?
By careful miscalculation.
Costello, instead of running around nights on those silly Sam Shovel cases, you should stay home.
Oh, I do stay home a lot, Abbott. Every night last week I stayed home. I cleaned the house. I got a terrible servant problem. I find it very difficult to hold a maid.
Now, what makes it so difficult for you to hold a maid?
My mother keeps walking in the room.
Never mind that. I understand you took your brother Pat to the movies last night.
Oh, yes. But I ain't taking Pat to the movies no more. He acts very strange. The minute we got into the movie, Pat put his hat under the seat.
Well, what's strange about that? What's the men put their hat under the seat?
While their head is still in it.
Oh, talk sense. Hey, wait a minute. Come here. What is that big manuscript you're carrying under your arm?
Well, I didn't want to tell you, but it's a book that I wrote.
A book you wrote?
It's the first chapter. The hero is threatened by a mad doctor who tries to remove his head. In the second chapter, he meets a demented butcher who tries to put him in a meat grinder. Then it ends where three maniacs tie him to a tree and a squadron of wild woodpeckers peck holes in him. But nobody wants to publish it.
Why not?
I guess people are sick of them mushy love stories.
What is your Sam Shovel detective story about tonight?
Well, tonight I do one of my most famous cases. I call it the case of the photographer who was stuck up in a dark room, or he was caught with his prints down.
Well, it sounds terrible, but let's do it.
And now, the makers of Bebop Bubble Bath present the adventures of Sam Shovel, Private Detective. But first, a word about our product, Bebop Bubble Bath. Friends, would you like Bubbles in your bathtub? You would? Well, why not call up Bubbles and see if she needs a bath? Ladies, try Bebop Bubble Bath. We don't ask you to buy the large size, mind you. Just try a trial size package. It contains a 7-year supply. You'll find that if you use Bebop Bubble Bath every day for 7 years, you'll have skin just like a baby. A baby alligator. Listen to what people all over the country are saying about Bebop Bubble Bath. In Kansas.
Give me Bebop Bubble Bath.
In New Jersey.
Give me Bebop Bubble Bath.
In Oregon.
Give me Bebop Bubble Bath.
In Virginia.
Give me liberty or give me death.
That Patrick Henry never gives up. And now the makers of Bebop Bubble Bath bring you your favorite thriller mystery. Here he is, Sam Shovel, Private Detective.
Yes. I'm Sam Shovel. Sam Shovel, Private Detective. The detective business has been mighty slow lately. Last night, having nothing to do, I went to a big public library and buried my nose in a book. This morning, I had a heck of a job finding it. I forgot what book I buried it in. Here comes my secretary now.
Did you call me, Mr. Shovel?
Don't be silly. Why should I call you Mr. Shovel? My name is Mr. Shovel. By the way, Miss Jones, did you find a file on that crook, Joe Kirk?
What's his name?
Who?
Joe Kirk.
Never heard of him. Miss Jones, you and I have got to work late in the office tonight. Are you prepared?
Oh, yes. I brought my brass knuckles, my fencing mask, and a baseball bat.
Clever girl. She's so stylish. She was voted one of the 10 best-dressed women in Azusa. That's not so remarkable when you consider there's only 9 other women in Azusa. Suddenly, the inter-office communication system buzzes. It's my secretary. She speaks.
Mr. Shovel, there are 2 men here to see you about a case. Mr. Cohen and Chief Lightfoot Running Deer.
I'll see the Indian first.
You can go in now, Mr. Cohen.
The cops have certainly got their hands full these days. Full of 5s, 10s, 20s. I think of my pal, Lieutenant Abbott of the Homicide Squad. Abbott has been on the police force for 20 years. He knows which side his bread is buttered on. He can take any piece of bread and say, this side is buttered.
Sam, I'm on the trail of Zeke, the hillbilly moonshiner, burglar.
Lieutenant Abbott, I'll be glad to help you. What do you want?
Well, you've seen Zeke. Give me a thumbnail description of him.
Well, he uses liquid polish, and his cuticle is pushed way back.
Sam, I want you to go with me to the Ozarks. I've got to capture Zeke. It'll be a dangerous trip. Those hillbillies are strange people. They're always arguing, shooting and farming.
Yep, shooting, fighting, and fertilizing.
Come on, Sam, we're heading for the hill.
Lieutenant Abbott and I arrived in the hillbilly country.
Sam, these hillbillies are strange people, but you'll have to admit they're solid citizens. They've got both feet on the ground.
They've got to have both feet on the ground. They don't wear shoes. I read in the papers where a 75-year-old hillbilly wanted to marry a girl 9 years old.
Did he marry her?
Nope, his parents objected. They didn't want him marrying a girl who'd been divorced 3 times.
Wait a minute, Sam. Here comes a bunch of hillbillies. Let's ask them if they know where Zeke is.
Howdy, strangers. I'm Jim Hartfield. These here are my sons.
I'm Sam Shovel, the detective, and this is Lieutenant Abbott.
Boys, say hello to the strangers. Lem? Do. Clem? Bert?
Sir?
Bert went to military school.
I don't like the looks of these guys, Abbott. The skinny one has got an ear of corn and 2 pumpkins.
So what? They're farmers, and farmers have corn and pumpkins.
Blown out of their heads.
Well, gotta go now. We're working on a farm. 2 weeks ago, we dug a hole. Last week, we dropped the seed in it. And today, we're going to cover it up.
Do you always work that hard?
Yeah. Except when the weather gets bad, then it slows us up a little. So long.
Boy, is that guy lazy. If he was a chicken, eggs and television sets would be the same price.
Never mind him, Sam. We've got to find Zeke, the moonshiner. Hey, look over there behind those bushes. There's Zeke's. There's Zeke. The moonshiner still. Come on.
Hey, look. There's Zeke. He's making corn liquor. He's jumping up and down on the corn, crushing it.
Hold on there, Zeke. We've got you covered. You're under arrest. Stop mashing that corn with your feet. What are you doing?
I'm making some 90 proof corn liquor. And tomorrow I'm going to make some that's 100 proof.
How do you do that?
For that, I take off my shoes.
Zeke, how do you make that corn liquor?
Well, first I mash up the corn. Then I dump in a gallon of turpentine. Then a gallon of Clorox. And 2 quarts of juniper juice.
Don't you put no alcohol in it?
Why? Ruin the taste?
Zeke, we're taking you to jail. Sam, grab some of that moonshine for evidence. And you better taste it to make sure we got the right stuff.
Lieutenant Abbott, you know I never touch the stuff.
So you're a brave detective, eh? Sam Chevrolet. Go ahead, you coward. Taste it. That stuff will grow hair on your chest.
He's only kidding, Sam. Go ahead and taste it.
Okay.
Sam! Speak to me, Sam.
Don't stand there, Lieutenant. Call a barber. This hair is so thick I can't see where I'm going. Get me out of here!
Now, before Abbott and Costello have their final fling, we bring you one more thought on this subject.
Costello, why don't you tell the folks about your next week's Sam Shovel story?
Folks, my Sam Shovel story takes place in a chewing gum factory. I call it the case of the beautiful blonde who fell into a vat of soft gum, or there's good chews tonight.
Yes, and our writers are working on the case right now. Our writing staff is headed by Eddie Foreman with Paul Connell, Pat Costello, Martin Raggaway, and Len Stern.
And our producer is Charles Vander. Be sure to be with us next Thursday night.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody in Patterson. Good night, come on. Aunt May, Uncle Mike, Uncle Tom, Aunt Eva.
Listen each Thursday night at this time for another great Abbott and Costello show, produced and transcribed in Hollywood. Be sure to stay tuned for the outstanding entertainment which follows throughout the evening on this ABC station.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.